this excitement of like, when I get married or when I'm in this committed relationship, it's all exciting, right? So in essence, your intention is for someone to constantly make you happy, to constantly meet your needs, to constantly be all about you. And you lose sight on the other person. And so if you're coming into something that involves two people, but your intention is self-focused, at some point it's going to break.
We give Jesus praise.
Welcome to my channel, and as you watch, may you be blessed.
Because at what point are both people serving each other? And rather than just focusing on the expectation of serve me, serve me, serve me, and it's not about serving each other. And so the intention of why people are getting in relationships really has to be qualified. But if you're only hype on emotions and you don't really get to know the soul of a person, how they think, how they feel, how they live, their decision making, their habits, the way they see life, when you start to do life with them and the real comes in and you don't know what to do, you can't handle it. And it's like, oh, let me go to the next one.
Okay. There's so much there. So you actually said what qualifies them.
Yes.
So let's actually talk about the qualifications, if you will, of what makes an amazing husband or partner and what makes an amazing wife.
Amazing wife. Starting with an amazing husband, we still see that men bring in this sense of leadership to a home. No matter, like women are killing it. Even look at this pocket. Women of impact. We are killing it, right? But at the end of the day, a woman still wants to enter that feminine space. When she's home, there's this space where she wants to feel loved and seen and nurtured and taken care of, right? Not in a sense that makes her idle or ineffective, because women are powerful and they have a purpose in this world that is a force in itself. Right? But when a woman is around a man brings in this sense of leadership, this sense of safety, this sense of, I'm even in his decision making, but he's being mindful of the woman. Right? I think where many women have felt oppressed by men is this sense of that the man is making decisions that is absent of her emotions, absent of her intelligence, right? But I think when you think of the qualities of a good man, number one, he's a good leader, right? And so to be a good leader, you have to be a student of something. You have to be a student of something that brings you to a place of humility, brings you to a place of knowing how to be a good steward, brings you to a place of knowing how to love. What is he following? Who are the people in his ear? That's why, like, as a Nigerian as well, our families always say, like, you marry a person's family. And what they mean by that is whoever you're getting married to, you're also marrying the people that influence him. And so he has to be a good leader, but that is also qualified by what shapes his leadership, right? I think women should always be intrigued by what books do you read? What are your favorite movies? What are the things you listen to? What are the podcasts you listen to? Because when you know how a man thinks, you're going to know how he leads.
Growing up, for me, I'm very traditional. So growing up, I saw my dad sit at the head of the table. He was the man of the house. He was never abusive. He was very respectful. He was very dominant. And I very much admired that. Then you cut to, I get older as an adult, and I get told by other women that women should never follow. Women should always be the leader. You need to be the equal. So I went really hard. I didn't go quite hard into saying I was a feminist, but I was definitely for pro-women. And what I realized in my aging is that, I absolutely can be a freaking badass. I can be strong. I can be confident. I can be independent. And I can also feel very comfortable in having my husband lead. Yeah. And that doesn't make me weaker.
Exactly.
But how much of that do you think holds us back? Because when you say find somebody who is a leader, do you find pushback in today's society where people are saying so you want us to follow?
No, absolutely. I think because even the word submission is like a trigger word for women. Like, I'm not going to submit and da-da-da-da-da. But when you also look at it, and I think more times we need to learn about, the woman needs to understand the man needs to understand the woman. Most men will tell you their love language is respect. There's a way that we are wired that is so innate to us. And when we go out of, how we were designed, what we're met with is a lot of tension and a lot of short-lived relationships. because I get into it from a place of, chemicals and hormones and excitement or whatever. And then I realize, this is not what will work for me long term. You see how women will confuse sex with commitment. Right? So they look at a man who just loves the sexual energy or loves the sexual connection with the woman. And that's how they end up, getting married or whatever. But then he wakes up and he's like, I never really loved you. I just enjoyed this. Right? Because they can disconnect the two. It's not the same for men and women, right? A man can have sex without being in love. With a woman that, she could, but it's much harder.
Yeah, I actually heard a study that men can keep having sex and not activate their oxytocin.
Oh, yes.
But a woman can start having sex and not activate it, but it
will.
It then does.
It will.
So
it comes in.
Yeah.
It's how we're wired.
Yeah.
When there's a disconnect in trying to understand the person you're with, is going to end up broken. So if a man receives love as respect, then what are you respecting? What are you trusting? You're trusting him as a man. You're trusting his wisdom. You're trusting his leadership, because at the end of the day, 2 is an even number, right? When you think about a company, think about, when a company has shareholders, right? And when something needs to move forward, sometimes the structure of the company is, hey, majority of the shareholders have to agree to this decision so that we can move things forward. Now, when you are dealing with even numbers, who's majority? Because unless it's unanimous, but what happens when we don't see eye to eye? Someone has to say, okay, I'm going to trust your leadership. I'm going to trust your decision in this. And it's not that they don't make sacrifices. That's not what I'm saying. It's not that they don't make decisions that will favor their wife and they don't agree with it. That's not what I'm saying. But what I mean is, when you remove leadership, there must be a structure of leadership in any institution for it to work. In a company, you have to have a CEO. Right? In a university, you have to have a dean, right? So for any institution to work, there must be a clear order of leadership. It has to happen. If not, it's going to be chaotic. And marriage is also an institution. Yes, we're partners, but for this to work, at some point, I have to recognize and honor your leadership in the home.
And do you think that that's partly what is necessarily going wrong, I would say, right now, where everyone thinks a relationship needs to be equal, which means that you make decisions together and there isn't a follower and a leader. And because of that, when you come to conflict, it's hard to have a resolution.
And that's when you have irreconcilable differences as the cause of divorce.
Thinking about just what you're saying on like a very tiny, small little level. Now, I'm very capable of thinking through it. I'm very capable of making the decision. But we've decided that he is the head of the family, and I like that. And so I trusted his opinion, where I was like, okay, well, what are we going to do? And he suggests, and he asked me my advice. He's like, what do you think about this idea? And I was like, to be honest, I don't know, so we should definitely just follow you. And so that, I get why you can take one little thing like that. You have that day in, day out, day in, day out for 2 years and 9 months. That is the statistic. I can actually, in fact, totally see how if you don't have a
if you
leader,
don't have that, it's going to break. Because leadership also brings vision. Without vision, there's no movement. Without vision, there's only so far I can go without getting hazy. And that's how people wake up and they're like, wait, why am I in this? Right? Being a good leader is not about a trump card. It's not about, I'm the leader, so it's what I say. No, it's how you love. It's that you are so mindful of your wife that in your decision making, she's factored in. But there's also this understanding that, wow, she trusts me. And because of her trust and confidence in me, I could lay it off for her. Most men, when you talk to them, they're very territorial in nature, right? They're wired to defend, to protect, to care. And so that is activated when they feel respected and they feel trusted. When they feel like they have to go head to head with you, you become a roommate. Then there's nothing to protect, because now we're always going head to head. At some point, it's going to break.
Thanks for watching. Here on my channel, we post gospel messages that would inspire you and transform your life positively and draw you closer to God, just like the one that you just watched now. I pray that God's word guide you and his peace go with you always. Please remember to like and subscribe and turn on your notification button so that you don't miss out on any of my videos. See you in my next one. Bye.